Hey guys, welcome to the LY show, the Waiting Out COVID-19 series. I'm Liying. On this episode, we continue to talk to people about how they've been coping with this pandemic and how their lives are being affected. Today, we are very glad to have Dean joining us from Greece. Dean is a Bitcoin expert, so we're very glad to have you joining us.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be joining as well. And I'm a big fan of what you're doing. I think your show is very important, so I'm glad to be helping out.
Thank you. Our goal is to make a record or documentation of people's life in this particular time. So we're very glad to have people from all walks joining us. And where are you at the moment?
I'm at my house. We still have a lockdown in Greece. Yeah, I'm in Athens, Greece at the moment.
So how long have you been locked down at home?
It's, I think we're right now at week 6. Greece did its lockdown in March. And it was actually before there was a case, before there was even one case in Greece, the lockdown happened. So it happened pretty fast here compared to other countries. You know, do I still go out? Yes, I go out every day. It's expected that you're going out to, if not for shopping, you're going out to just even for a walk, you know, exercise. You know, it's completely understood that people have to take their pets out as well. So yeah, it's been 6 weeks, but you know, thank God we've been able to go out.
Yeah. So how do people react to the lockdown?
I think everybody reacted. I mean, generally people don't want to be stuck. No one wants to be stuck inside, right? But it's been good. I think one of the reasons why Greece has had a very good handling of the crisis, you know, low amounts of cases, low amounts of deaths, it's really because people have respected the lockdowns. There was a lot of joking about it in the beginning because in Greece, there's a system where we have to send a text message before we leave. And there are 6 possible text messages. So one of the text messages is you going to the bank. Another one is I'm going to the pharmacy. Another one is I'm going to help someone that can't help themselves. So there's 6 different choices. And then, you know, jokes came out like, oh, let's say I want to go have a drink with my friends. What do I, you know, text? Or say I want to go, you know, on a date with this girl I met. What do I have to text? So, you know, there are a lot of jokes. I don't think people are texting the numbers so much anymore. But in the beginning, everybody texted for every single thing. So the reaction was good, I think.
Who do they text to?
There's a number. It's like some government number. 13033, I think, is the number.
So basically, you need to report about your outing.
Yeah, you need to say who you are, where you live, and where you're going. And the going is, you know, you just give a number. So like, you know, I live, you know, my name is Dean, I live here, and my reason for going out is number 5. There's 6 reasons, you say number 5. I think number 5 is I'm going to the bank.
Yeah, all right. So what if you don't send a message to this number? Do you still get to go out?
Supposedly, if you go out without sending a text and a policeman asks you to show them your phone for the message, I believe that they'll fine you 150 euros.
Okay, so was this effective in any sense?
It was effective in that, you know, it's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if the texting needed to happen, but a lot of people stayed home. A lot of people stayed home. The first few days, the policemen were stopping everybody. If you were walking, they would stop you. If you were driving, they would stop you. I walk a lot around my neighborhood because I can, you know, I can get to the bank without driving. I can get to the supermarket without driving. I hear though that when you drive, people will, you know, they'll stop you. They'll fine you. It's been very effective. Yeah.
So as we all know that Greece, maybe typically Athens is a very touristic place. So now I guess it's very much affected.
Yeah, the economy's gonna be very hurt. And that's a worry for after the virus. Greece is very dependent on tourism. So whatever happens,
Mm-hmm.
the economy is going to be hit this year.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing is this: when people want to start traveling, they're going to find Greece is one of the safest places from coronavirus. So that's, hopefully
Mm-hmm.
tourism picks up. But that's a good point you made. Tourism
Mm-hmm.
is very important to Greece, and this is going to hurt.
Mm-hmm. Are there a lot of like tourists being locked down there?
The moment you arrive, you have to quarantine yourself for 14 days. I don't think there's a lot of tourists here right now. I know a lot of hotels
Mm-hmm.
closed. Airbnbs are popular though, so it's possible, but I don't think there's a lot of tourists right now, no.
Mm-hmm. All right. I mean, like when the lockdown happened, were there a lot of tourists in Greece already?
Yeah.
And then, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, there were definitely tourists
All right.
here. But I think the process to leave Greece after was pretty easy because, all along there wasn't a feeling that there was no cooperation, so all countries were communicating with Greece pretty easily. Compared to some other countries, I think any tourists that were stuck here were able to leave pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. All right. Since you were saying that people generally respond to the lockdown pretty well, but are there any challenges arising from social distancing in Greece?
The challenges would have been mostly around shopping, and Greece now is kind of transforming and becoming very digital because of that. So, before this lockdown, most people had never ordered delivery food or anything, because it's such a old. We have a very aged population in Greece, but now everybody's ordering delivery from everything. And one of the biggest e-commerce platforms got investment yesterday from a large VC. Like, what's happening is a lot of the digital ecosystem is growing as this. So all those problems turned into opportunities to grow. It's very weird how this crisis might be a good thing for Greece because 10 years before the crisis, there was another crisis being the economic crisis in Greece.
Mm-hmm. All right. So has your work been affected?
Thank God, no. I mean, all my work is on the internet. So I was already working from home. I was already under lockdown. And then,
Mm-hmm.
being in Bitcoin, Bitcoin's working 24/7. You don't need to go to a bank. You don't need to ask anybody's permission. It's been good. It's been chaotic. A lot's happening in the industry, but I'm one of the lucky ones.
Mm-hmm. All right. Uh, do you kind of even benefit from it?
From a work perspective, no, I don't think anyone really benefits from it. That's an interesting question. I don't happen to be in the field that would benefit from it. One of the benefits is I get to spend more time with my son. And I think that's, also one of the hardest things about the lockdown is, so many people who have children, they now have to stay at home to, one, take care of the children, two, also teach their children. So yeah, I don't know if I
Mm-hmm.
answered that correctly, but yeah, that's been
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity, spending more time with my son.
Mm-hmm. All right. So when you heard about the coronavirus for the first time, what were you thinking?
What was I thinking? So the first time, it wasn't a big deal, it was just another kind of like sickness in another country, so you don't need to think about it. But then when I started hearing about the lockdown, and because I used to live in Shanghai, so I have friends, I have you, I know people. Um, because of that, I could see it was serious really fast. And then what's interesting is telling it to other people in Greece, because they don't have that bridge to China or to anybody in Asia. They were like, "Oh, it's not a big deal." So I was lucky in that I already knew people to take it seriously. I had bought masks way before they sold out in Greece.
Mm-hmm. So there was a shortage of masks as well in Greece.
Yeah, the shortage of masks and disinfectant gloves. And now there's shortage of, certain cooking supplies. Not a lot, like yeast. You can't find yeast, for example, if you want to bake bread.
All right. So any particular communities in Greece are hit hard by the pandemic?
I think the hardest hit have been the refugees, really, because they all live very, close to each other, and there's not as much screening. The refugee camps have had a problem, and Greece has had problems with refugees and border control lately. So that's been the hardest, but that's not something we see. You would have to be all the way in North Greece. So if somebody comes to Greece, they go to Athens or they go to the islands, they're never going to see refugees. That's been the hardest hit. I also imagine that we're going to see a lot of damage, again, as you mentioned, the tourism. When the islands are supposed to have all of their income in the summer and people are under lockdown, no one's flying, I think a lot of the real damage is going to happen then.
Do people get any support financially from the government at the moment?
To my knowledge, nothing like has happened in some of the other countries. Like there's not a check that everybody's getting. I do know though that they're constantly discussing new proposals for small businesses, just like the one that they've done in the U.S. But I don't think Greece is going to get to a place of like a universal basic income.
But people are still pretty chill, even though kind of their work is affected.
It's because, again, like for 10 years, everybody in Greece has been going through some pretty bad stuff. It's like, okay, coronavirus, what else? Like, it got so bad here that it can't get worse. And I think that that's also why, like, everybody's kind of got, a good attitude about it. Because, jobs were hard before. The weather's great though. The weather's so good. I've got so much sun out here. It's hard to be upset. That's the beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So compared to other European countries, why do you think Greece is doing such a good job?
So there was an article about this in a Swedish newspaper, and I think there's some truth in it. Greece has a weak healthcare system. So because there are a few countries that have weak healthcare systems, they shut down before the virus came because of that, right? They know that if this comes and it hits hard, we're going to have a very big problem. So they took very responsible measures. I think that was one. And two, Greece is a very family-oriented kind of culture, and we have a lot of old people, like a very, very large population over 70 years old. So the idea that, you're locked down, why am I locked down? So that all of your relatives can live. And I think that that's really helped, that there's this very large aging population and a great respect for them that really helped keep people at home.
But we also heard stories about how hard it has been to convince the elderly to, get to know something about the virus or to stay in. So is that a problem for the old community in Greece?
I think it was more of like a joke, like, again, like the old people not knowing what to do kind of thing. But no, so, in most of Athens, most of people that live in Greece live in Athens. 50% of people live in Athens. And we live in apartment buildings. In almost every apartment building, somebody who's young has posted their number and has said, look, you're not allowed to go out of the building. Just call me, tell me what you need. I'll go buy it for you. I'll bring it back. So every building has, one of these young angels who will go out and do all the work for you so you can stay home. And, people are not shy about yelling at an old person saying, what are you doing on the street? You should be home. I'll go get it for you. There's kind of this love-hate relationship where, people are very comfortable saying, the tough love that they need to hear. And then there's a lot of people helping out. So it's been, it was nice to return, but with such bad circumstances, to see the bright spots of people, you know, the good in everybody's heart.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. That's really good to know. Do you see, I mean, do you think this kind of a change will like continue afterwards?
I think it will. I think it will. This is also, you know, it's very unique again that this was also all after an economic crisis. There's a new government in place. So a new government with the first crisis, and they do well, you know, now they've created this trust from people. So I think it'll continue in that in this fashion, but I'm very worried about, you know, tourism again. Greece survives purely off of tourism. I don't think people are going to be traveling a lot. I mean, where are you now? You're in Thailand now, or are you back in China?
I'm back in Shanghai,
Okay.
luckily.
Are you going to be traveling soon?
It all depends on the situation.
Okay,
I would
that's a
love
good
to
answer.
travel. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, really.
I don't know how many
Yeah.
people are like, everybody wants to travel, but like, just you can't even think about it right now, right? It's like one of those, well, I hope to, you know, but it's hard to make plans now. So that's my worry is you
Mm-hmm.
know, how are people
Mm-hmm.
actually going to be traveling?
Mm-hmm. So has this pandemic changed you in any way?
Well, yeah, I think I'm more understanding of teachers because I have to do so much, you know, of the schooling now. That
Mm-hmm.
really, I think, is the difference for people who have been through Corona without a kid or with a kid. You understand a lot more around your patience and your parenting. Yeah, that's definitely changed me in that sense. I'm more patient. I and I'm looking forward to kind of all the things I can do again outside, but with, you know, with my son specifically, rather than just like on my own. It made me more of an adult, I think. I don't know. How about you? What has changed you during Corona?
I think getting to know more people in different parts of the world thanks to the show.
Nice. You see,
Yeah.
there's always a silver lining. You're the kind of person that finds that
Yeah.
silver lining. I like that.
Oh, thank you. All right. So what about teaching and learning in Greece at the moment?
Teaching and learning. What do you
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like what's happening here,
I mean,
teaching wise?
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so all the schools are still closed. I think they're gonna open in a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then even then, like as a parent, how fast are you going to just send your kid to school? Are you sure that you trust them too, right? So I don't know what we're gonna do. Um, yeah, but
Are they
I want
doing
my son to go back.
are they doing any online learning and teaching at the moment?
They are. All of the public schools.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know, each teacher has set up some sort of online schooling. Yeah, but you know, my son's way too young for me to give any feedback on that. We haven't gone through that.
Mm-hmm. So any other thoughts you have during this period of time?
Yeah, I think, you know, this is a great time to do things like what you're doing. You know, people gotta be entrepreneurial, gotta think about like all of these things. Like the world's changed, right? And we see that we can do work from home. A lot of companies are going to stop having offices. A lot of companies are going to use Zoom almost every day. So it really comes down to taking advantage of this, making an opportunity of it, looking for that silver lining, just like you've done. You know, out of nowhere, you created a show now. You've got, you know, all these different shows and all these different viewers, right? And you have more guests. This all came out of a crisis moment. So yeah, I look forward to seeing how many things people will build because they get to stay home, have time, you know, be resourceful. It's exciting. We're gonna live. Everybody's gonna live. We're all gonna go through this, right? It's gonna be a tough time. So let's, like, you know, make something beautiful out of it.
Do all Greek people have this positive attitude
No,
like you do?
no, no, not even close. Not even close. If you want, I can
Really?
bring you I can go out on my balcony and find you a negative Greek very fast. They'll tell you that there's no jobs, we're all gonna
Seriously?
starve, we're all gonna die. Yeah, yeah. Everybody. I'm the most positive Greek you'll ever find. That's for sure. So I'm sorry to
How lucky,
I'm sorry to give
how lucky we
the
are.
yeah, I'm giving a different version of it. Honestly, we yeah, a lot of people would give you a different a different more negative version. So I'll ask around. If I find someone who I think can give a good story, I'll tell you about them so you can invite them to the show.
All right. What's the most negative thing you have ever heard? And how often do you hear that?
I mean, if for us here in Greece, it's always about the economy and jobs, right? That you know, people don't pay enough, the government screws people over, and yada yada yada. But and I hear it every day. I hear it every day. But I think that that's just because, you know, the economy's been so bad for so long. It's just, you know, something you do. You know, you drink your coffee. The economy's bad. The government sucks. But hopefully that'll change soon. But yeah, now that you mention it, I'm a little too positive, so I will find somebody else to balance it out.
All right. So when you hear that, do you like engage in a conversation with them and show a little bit of your different perspective with them, or you just ignore them?
You know, it changes from time to time. If I think I can bring some sunlight, I'll do it. But sometimes the clouds are so thick, you know, it's just not. I don't want to darken my sunny day with somebody else's clouds.
All right, that's good. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, I mean, this has been great. I think you asked some great questions too, and I can't wait to see this online and see the future ones you do as well.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Pleasure to talk to you. Yeah, thank you. All right, so
thank you.
take care. Yeah.
You too.
Bye for now.
Bye.